All right, let's get right into it. We're going to talk about one of the most painful, most confusing situations you can find yourself in. It's not about someone who doesn't love you. I mean, that's hard, for sure, but at least it makes a certain kind of sense. No, the real mind-bender is when you can feel the love. You can see it right there in their eyes. But when it comes down to actually committing, they just can't.
It's a place so many of us have been. The connection feels so deep, so genuine. You share these moments that are just undeniable. You hear the care in their voice. So, you can't help but ask yourself this one huge question.
What if someone loves you, but they just aren't ready for you? That is the paradox, isn't it? It can trap you in this awful place, stuck somewhere between hope and total confusion. Because you're thinking, if you love me, why can't you just choose me? Well, today we're going to break down exactly what's going on here. Okay, so the first and honestly the most important thing you have to understand is this. Love and readiness are two completely different things. It's a huge mistake to think that if you have one, you automatically get the other.
Think of it like this. On one side, you've got love. It's an emotion, right? A feeling of this deep, genuine connection. And it can be 100% real. But on the other side, you've got readiness. And that's not a feeling. That's a skill. It's a conscious choice. It's about having the maturity and the stability to actually build something that lasts. So one is an emotion, the other is the ability to act on it.
So what does that really mean to be ready? Well, it's about what you can actually offer someone. It's not just about hugs and sweet words. It's the real practical stuff, like being consistent day in and day out. It's being accountable for your actions, and it's being able to communicate when things get tough. Someone can feel all the love in the world, but if they haven't developed these skills, it's just not going to work.
So why does this happen? I mean, if the love is really there, what's stopping them from being ready? Well, there are usually a few really common and almost always deeply personal reasons for this hesitation.
And this list pretty much nails the internal battles someone might be facing. They could still be carrying around emotional baggage from a past relationship that left them scarred. Or they might just be terrified of losing their independence. Maybe their life is kind of unstable right now, with their career or money, and they feel like they can't give you the stability you deserve. And sometimes, let's be honest, it's just plain emotional immaturity. They want the good parts of love without the actual work of commitment.
This lack of readiness creates this incredibly confusing and painful limbo. It's a situationship, a middle ground, where nothing is clearly defined. You're living in this almost relationship. You've got the late-night calls, the inside jokes, the emotional intimacy. I mean, from the outside and even sometimes from the inside, it looks and feels like you're together. The bond is real, and yet you can feel it deep down. Something is missing.
But you're definitely not just friends either, are you? No way. There's way too much history there, too much emotion. You're just stuck in this exhausting push and pull, which is exactly why this middle ground is so draining. Let's just look at the signs here. Does any of this sound familiar? You talk every single day. You spend a ton of time together. You share things you don't share with anyone else. You pretty much act like a couple in every way. But there's always that but, isn't there? That big one. There's no clear commitment. And that one missing piece, that one little word, it changes everything.
And this is the thought that keeps so many of us waiting in that middle ground. It's that little whisper of hope in your ear telling you that if you're just a little more patient, a little more supportive, they'll come around, they'll finally get ready. But what's the actual price you pay while you're waiting for that maybe?
And this brings us to the real cost of waiting. Because hoping for someone to change isn't a passive activity. It has a real emotional toll, and over time, it can slowly but surely drain you of your energy and even your sense of who you are.
It usually starts with a pretty noble idea, right? You tell yourself, hey, love is patient, I'm just being supportive. But then, slowly, you start ignoring your own needs. You start to accept less clarity, less effort. And before you even know it, you started to shrink yourself, making your needs smaller and smaller just to fit inside the tiny box of their uncertainty. And at that point, waiting isn't about love anymore. It's about self-sacrifice.
And all of this leads to one of the hardest truths we have to face in relationships. Sometimes love just isn't enough. And deciding to accept that takes an incredible amount of strength.
So if there is one thing I really want you to hear today, it's this. Their inability to commit is not a reflection of your worth. It has nothing to do with you. Someone can care about you deeply, truly, and still not be capable of giving you the relationship you need and absolutely deserve. Their readiness is about their journey. It is not, and never will be, a measure of your value.
So what's the bottom line here? A healthy, right-for-you relationship doesn't leave you guessing all the time. It doesn't make you feel like you're asking for too much just because you want some clarity. The right relationship chooses you, clearly, without hesitation. And maybe the most loving thing you can do for yourself is to choose a life where love and readiness finally get to show up together.